Thank you so much, Anna. And thank you so much for coming today. And special thanks to our guest, Djibril Dramé. I won't be long. I'm just going to introduce him very briefly. He's going to be extensively talking about his work following a film screening that we're going to do of one of his experimental works that he has done in between Los Angeles and Addis Ababa. He will tell us more about it. It's called The Guardian in French. It's a pleasure for me to be here today and to have Djibril Dramé, who happened to be in London, and offered to collaborate with this talk at the university. So we are super grateful to do that. I'll just say a few words about this amazing artist that I really admire. So thank you so much for joining us. He's a multidisciplinary and visual artist. He's also an independent scholar. But I would say that he's more of a multimodal storyteller. As you can see, even today is quite multimodal. You have been given postcards that then you can take to him for him to sign and write a little message for you at the end of the talk. He will be a souvenir for you. And there's also a photographic exhibition that is related to the film in conversation that we film. In a way, it's a sort of like a photographic version of the film that we are going to see today. But he also works with textiles, with voice, with sound. You'll notice the sound love in the film that we will see today. I absolutely love the work of Jason here. But I would also describe him as someone who is at the crossroads of diverse art forms and social issues that he reflects on and also raises awareness of through his work. He has a rich body of work that makes us question why art matters for the world that we would like to inhabit. And also, I would say that I would like to describe him as a crossroads, but as a crossroads or point of convergence of a constellation of artists, arts, and spaces. He's someone who is deeply invested in mentoring younger artists, so capacity building, but also of preserving the memory of those who came before him. So I think that that's also something really, really crucial to him. African arts is a way also of contesting that historic context of exclusion. And his work has featured at prestigious international art firms, including Art at Lagos, the 154 Contemporary African Art Fair in Paris, or the Addis Photo Festival, which was the context in which the film that we are going to see today, Guardian, was made. I won't say much about the film. I think that he'll talk about that later. We're going to have a 30-minute talk of a masterclass of him talking more broadly about his work and where this film sits within his broader work. Something else that I want to see and I would like to hear more about is the way in which his work is rooted in a spiritual ethos of the Baifal Sufi brotherhood, so Sufi art, which is super important in the context of Senegal, where spirituality, healing, tradition, and contemporary aesthetic forms meet. I would love to hear a little bit more about art. Also, to say that within the artwork that he has done, he started super early. He started as a child doing some graffiti, and then he started to do photography at the age of 15. And in the early 20s, he actually realized that he was better at documenting what other artists were doing in the street and at expressing himself through different kinds of art forms. So he developed the most extensive archive of street art practice in Senegal through photography and interviews, again, to reflect the important work he has done on documentation. He's currently researching the legacy of the Senegalese jazz singer and actress Aminata Fall. She was the one we were listening to when you guys arrived at the room, and he's doing that and as an art in an art residency that he just completed. He will be leaving the UK on the 15th, 14th of so this Sunday of December, and he's gonna show the work that he completed at the art residency over there. One of the key aspects that revolves around all of this prolific practice is this idea of African storytelling as decolonial literacy, but also this idea of art as an extension of everyday life and also something that can humanize the human being. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, David.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up. It's a pleasure seeing you all here, familiar faces and people that I don't know. It's a pleasure. Yeah, thank you also for watching this movie. It's really something that like mean a lot for me. I did this project in 2016 in Addis Ababa with the community of Magabe Skate, which is becoming really big now. And I'm happy to be one of the first to kind of like put some light on this beautiful community. Before taking any question, I would like to for us like to go with this masterclass. I don't know if it will be masterclass or you guys will find it boring, but you let me know. For me, photography is the writing of the soul. My name is Djibril Dramé. I'm a visual artist, and today I would like to talk about photography not as a simple technique, but as a form of writing of the soul. Photography is writing with light, c'est-à-dire photographier par la lumière, but also with the invisible. It is capturing what is left unsaid, what passes between beings, what floated in the air. Our ancestors were long afraid of this practice, especially in Africa. They said photography steals the soul. But in reality, they already recognized that images have immense spiritual power. They freeze a presence, a vibration, a brief, and despite this fear, they practice it. They turn it into an art. They knew to transform it into living memory, into a trace of love and dignity. I'm showing, I wanted for you guys like to look at this image, which is part of my series Ndewenel. Ndewenel, I've been doing it since 2010, and it's just like documenting doing the Eid el Kebir and Eid el Fitr. So I will gather people around. They will just like dress up really nice and just like be in front of the camera and take pictures. So the same image was featured on the British Photography of Journal last year, but also was used by this artist named Anais, has an album cover for an album cover with Virgin Records called Darkness at Play. The fathers and mothers of black photography. I wanted to pay tribute here to those who paved the way, to Mama Kassé from St. Louis, Malik Sidibe, Seydou Keita from Mali, the African masters of portraiture. People did not just come to their studio to be photographed. They came to exist. Their lenses became a sacred mirror. Each photograph was an affirmation. I'm here, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy. This is a image of taken by Mama Kassé, Studio African photo in Dakar between 1950s and 1960. And on your left, you have Omar Lee, who passed away. There is this French scholar named Frédéric Chapuis, who have done like extensive work around him. So Omar Lee is from Podor and was taking a lot of images in the brousse, in the villages, with the significant way of taking it because you will always like have this kind of like backdrop. Sometimes even like there are some images in which he used actually a human being who happened to wear a big dress. So the big dress was the backdrop. And on your right you have Malik Sidibe photography taken in 1981. And Samuel Fosso. I really like the work of Samuel Fosso. Samuel Fosso is this Cameroonian origin photographer who started his career in Central African Republic. Their photography was a political act, but also a spiritual one. It repaired imagination, and then there were those in the diaspora, voices like Gordon Parks and Ming Smith, who wrote history differently. Gordon Parks, the first black photographer at Life magazine, used his camera as weapon against injustice. He said, "Photography is my weapon against poverty, racism, against everything that threatens humanity. His images, full of gentleness and pain, tell a dignity in adversity. They remind us that light can also be an act of resistance." On your left, you have Gordon Parks, who passed away in 2006. And I was fortunate to have one of these young, like one of people that like he mentored while I was living in LA. He told me a lot about him. His name is Chaz Guess, a painter who lives in Mid City. So I was always going to him to listen to him about Gordon Fox. He was always saying that like he was a player. He was like always dressing up well. Everybody likes him. So Ming Smith also for me like he's one of the best in terms of visual literacy. And we know that like artists, contemporary artists as Arthur Jaffa always inspire himself on Ming. And he's someone that like I really appreciate her work. This is an image of Gordon Fox that he have taken in Alabama, 1956. And if you look into the film, the music video of Kendrick Lamar is one that like he used a lot of the images as reference to create his visuals with the work of Gordon. Yeah, and then there is Ming Smith, the first black woman to be exhibited at MoMA. Her work is a visual prayer. She photographs as one paints, as one breathes, blur, reflection, shadows. Everything is poetry. Ming says, I seek to capture the black soul, not just the face. So this is an image taken by Ming in Senegal, 1972. These artists are proven that photography can be political, poetic, and mystical all at once. And there is where I see myself among photographers who seek inner truth, who write the memory of the world with light. We're going to talk about different type of photography. Photography has a thousand faces, and yet they all speak to the soul, depending on the intention behind them. Documentary photography. That's what I started with. I started documenting graffiti because I started doing graffiti. My cousin Deep of Miserable Graph, who is one of the first crew in graffiti in Senegal, found me drawing on my math copies. So he was like, why not follow us when we make murals? So I was just like filling the letters. And then at some point, he's the one actually who gave me the first camera. I remember it was a Zenith made in URSS. When you take a picture, the camera jump because it's heavy. So yeah, and I started with that, and yeah, so I started with documenting photography, documenting the early ages of graffiti in Senegal, with portraiture of the graffiti artists, but also different graffiti made, but also just mural in general. Because for me, like graffiti is just like a new way of talking of naming hieroglyph. That's how I see it. Yeah, and yet they all speak to the soul, depending on the intention behind them. Documentary photography, it bears witness, it tells a story. It is the photography of Gordon Parks, of the streets, of struggles, of everyday life. But even there is tenderness. Because to document is to love what we want to preserve. This is the feat of Pape Diop. Pape Diop is a muralist from Senegal. People say that like he's crazy, but I don't think he's crazy. And he just like draw everywhere the face of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, who is our religious guide and who fought against the French people when they came in Senegal, but in a peaceful manner. So he just draw the same face everywhere. He will draw it also on board and leave it in the street. So for me, like coming back to the, but even there is tenderness because to document is to love what we want to preserve. I could have taken a face of Pop Job, but when our beloved Koyo passed away, I was documented the celebration, and there is this artist named Alun Diouf who's part of Laboratoire Agita, and he came in and he found me with my camera, and he was like, Djibril, ah, xamal li ngay jël de, am na loo war a jël ak loo warul jël, comme tak demal. And he told me, Jibril, you know, There's things to take and things to not take. So go. And let me go. Spiritual or symbolic photography. It seeks the invisible, the vibration, the faith. It is an inner journey. When I photographs, I seek the divine presence in humans. The photo becomes a prayer, an offering, silence. So I'm going to talk about Ma Ville Colorée. Ma Ville Colorée, about the documentation of graffiti, is more than an exhibition because my first solo show was in Germany in Freiburg with a bunch of images of just like graffiti in 2012. And that's where I met Moussa Senapsa the first time. And Ma Ville Colorée, it is a lifelong project. Since 2004, I've been documenting graffiti across Senegal and throughout Africa through photography and in-depth interviews. With my camera and voice recorder, I capture not only the face and artworks of graffiti artists, but also their story, messages, and the social change they express. My work reflects 2 decades of commitment, encounters, and passion for visual culture that brings color and vibrancy to African cities. This is an image of Mazos. It's one of the newest collective, but they are like this new generation that decided instead of like their elders to go to school. So they finished school. Madzo went to the Department of Philosophy, and now for the last 5 years, they open up an academy of graffiti. So they teach graffiti, and people comes and have residencies and stuff like that. And right now, they're hosting one of the members of Public Enemy in Senegal. So they did here. They did a mural for the Congo, and probably a lot of people might know of this image of Steve McQueen, the Afghan girl. So there is this graffiti artist from Senegal and Jablos. Jablos also is by far like me, and also have his. For me, Jablos is the only graffiti artist in Senegal who have a visual identity because there is something that like he have work on to get it. And Shimer, who is more like a portraitist, that was his first mural. And now he lives in Guinea, and he's the one who brought graffiti in Guinea. So he become like he created his own festival, and he's somebody like big now. So this image was also part of Ma Ville Colorée, and I play with this guy walking with the balloons. This Estrella's friend, Mam Sheikh, by Fall, and this graffiti was made by a Spanish artist named Sabotaje Almontaje, and that was the second time that he came to Senegal. I have documented him during Festival Kher in 2008, and he came back in 2015, and yeah, ah, this is a project that like I'm glad that like my collaborator Anna is here from Cambridge, who is a researcher and have been working around this neighborhood in Dakar called Taiba, which is actually in the middle of the city that like the government have been trying to erase, but also like the government need them because they're the one who are the tailors, they're the one who can do all the handy works. So Kacha, Anna, and I, especially Anna, have been doing a tremendous job for over years now in that neighborhood, living in that neighborhood, knowing the people, knowing their struggle, and also like inviting us like recently to work on the project. So Holu Dakarbi is a project in collaboration with Cambridge researcher Anna Wood and Russian photographer Katya Golovko. Holu Dakarbi, the Heart of Dakar, is a mixed media exhibition engaging with plans to resettle a small informal settlement in central Dakar, a collaborative project between Anna Wood, Research Associate Social Anthropology, University of Cambridge, and Dakar-based photographers Djibril Dramé and Ekaterina Kolovko, aimed at contributing to the preservation of the memory of the place. So there are some images that like I have taken while I was doing the research and documenting with Anna. James, the photographers, maybe like it is important to talk about the camera I used. This was shot with Leica, and yeah. So I decided through my research and also documentation to use different elements with the tapestry, with the rabal, which is the local fabric in Senegal, and created like a background with the different images that I have taken as a toile de Taiba, like the toile de Jouy in France, that they use in different like decoration. And also like there is an image of this mom, old lady named Merjata that Anna knew, who used to be the, let's say, like the auntie of the neighborhood. All the kids love her because she was the one organizing the parties, the birthday parties, but also like giving kids candies. And she passed away, so I wanted to create like something like for her. This is Mangam and Jari, who are a couple from Taiba, always with the Toile de Jouy or Toile de Taiba in the back, with the Cinema El Mansour. It's one of the oldest cinema in Senegal and in that neighborhood. Let's go with experimental photography. This is where I combine textile, dyeing, and materials because of me. For me, photography must go beyond paper. It must breathe, transform, and come alive. Every stitches, every color is a spiritual gesture. There's these pieces that are made with the toile de jouy and a picture of my mother in the middle. She came to the house and I decided to make her wear my own clothes. It was like a hip hop artist for one day. And this backdrop that I used during my Ndewena on this side, Ndewena series, the photography series that I do every Eid el Kibir and Eid el Fitr. And this was during an exhibition called Ruku Disket in Sandaga. Sandaga is one of the most famous market in Senegal. And when I got invited by this curator to be part of the show, his name is Mohamed Sisse. I've been following my work for years. I was like, did you know actually my mother used to sell at the market. So my project was around my mother, and there was a video in the middle and three pieces with photography, rice bags. Yeah, portrait photography. It is a meeting of souls between the photographer and the subject. There is an invisible space where something flows. This is what Ming Smith called the vibration. A good portrait is when this vibration becomes visible. Those are two of my work from my series called Forgotten Icons, where I've been trying, and also like I did another series in 2024, exploring the contribution of Black women in his history that have been like invisibilized. So the orange one, I was trying to portray this singer that the President Senghor have been using for all of his propaganda, named Yande Kodusen. I think like you guys should like write this name and go on YouTube and check her out. Because for me, like it's one of the best singer in the world. Yande Kodusen used to just like prior to the president going to visit somewhere, he will always send Yande Kodusen to do all the propaganda with the music. And when the president comes, like arrive in the country, she will be the first one to welcome her with the like a griot to kind of like give him some peps before talking to the white people. So yeah, and on your left, like over there, there is this lady that I was trying to portray, also another singer named Abigana Job, and Abigana Job self-proclaimed herself as being the first Senegalese woman rapper. So if you go online, also like check her out. She was so dope with like different sense of style, and so yeah, I was trying to portray her. And when I use the backdrop, that was the first time I used the toile de jouy. So I used the toile de jouy and was showing at 154, and all the French people was like, "Tu sais, ça c'est la toile de jouy." I'm like, "What is toile de jouy?" But yeah, and then like that's when like I really started like to really dig deeper in it, and sometimes yeah, sometimes like a work can come like that, like as an accident. So, but yeah, it was a beautiful accident. So this is a photo 2023 during Devenel, the series of portraiture that I take during the Eid el-Kibir, Eid el-Fitr. And that was the first time I have done it like in another country other than Senegal. So I was in Guinea, in Boke, in this village, and for me, like that's one of the best because it was so raw. Like I went to the Foyer des Jeunes, like a youth house, and all the kids came. It was like a big festival. I never seen anything like that. Like at least 2,000 people came. So I was overwhelmed, but like it was a good thing. Conceptual photography. It is ask who are we? What do we allow others to see? It questions memory, faith, society. An image can be a weapon, but also an offering of meaning. This is a project that I have done called Jaune Noir à l'épée, inspired from a series, this artwork from Pierre Suvis de Chavannes, qui est who is a famous French painter who have painted this young man with the sword. And yeah, I wanted to explore that in a contemporary way. And this is a project I've done like in 2019 during COVID, and was just like questioning how people were like kind of like forced to be in house and like also like be in front of them, and how probably like animals could save us if we take care of the environment, and probably they will give us like all the values that they have and we lack of. Regardless of gender, of genre, a photograph remains a mirror. It always reveals what we carry inside. Photography has contemporary ritual. For me, photography is a ritual act. Before taking a photograph, I prepare myself internally. I meditate, I breathe, I connect. The camera becomes an instrument of prayer. It is not me who takes the photo, it is the light that settles. I'm inspired by the Sufi path, the Baifal patience, and walk as worship. Each shutter releases a Bismillah. Each image is a trace of the divine in the world that becomes the work of the hands, the fabric, the dyeing, the gesture, because the body must allow participate in creation. It is a way of resacralizing the image, of giving it back its flesh. So this is a project called Sabadola Riders, where I was trying to explore the exploitation of the gold in Sabadola in the south of Senegal by European companies, but also his impact on the youth. Most of the youth in Sabadola, the only work that they do is just like Jakarta riding. They will drive around with their motorcycle to deliver, but around them there are a lot of wealth, but nobody is taking care of them. So this body of work have been shown at 154 Paris at Christie's in 2022. But also, like I like because I'm from graffiti, so I will always print out a big image and put it in the street. So if you see this one on the left here, I was in Paris, and on your right, it was in Dakar. After a year later, I decided to put it in the street. I don't take a photo; I receive it. and I give it back to the world so that it can continue to live. Those two images are from the Nevada series, and I think like they are kind of like two images that like speaks to me really deeply. When you look at this photo, what do you see? And above all, what do you feel? Each image has its own vibration. It can heal, connect, question. It is through the viewer's gaze that the soul of the photo awakens. Photography is also about finding yourself. It is recognizing in others a part of what we carry within us. Take this image as an offering. For me, a photograph is not a frozen memory. It is a prayer in light. It connects worlds, the living and the ancestors. It bears witness to we were, who we are, and who we will be. Photography is the writing of the soul. And if our ancestors fear it, it was because they knew it touched on what is sacred. So today, let us relearn how to honor the image, to see it as a spiritual space, an offering of love and memory. Jërë ngeen jëf.